did I read somewhere correctly that you teach marketing?
I did teach marketing. I taught lots of things that I shouldn't have taught, but um, I think thing is, now there's lots of Korean universities want someone to teach certain kinds of classes, specific content classes in English,
Hmm.
um,
Mm.
because the student body, international, global point of view, scholarship from the outside, and a lot of people in the top universities can handle an English lecture.
Mm.
Um, so when you have one of the reasons I finished my doctorate, the dissertation, is when you do have the PhD, you can apply for lots of jobs, um, many of which you have no business teaching. I mean, I taught marketing management. I was forced to teach in that program uh, supply chain management.
Your
Like,
passion.
I literally, because it was a business administration department, I literally, I was hired. They were like, "Oh, you have a Berkeley PhD and you have the time. You want to do it? You're hired." Essentially,
Mm.
Wow.
they didn't look too closely. They didn't really care. Um, and I was like, "Cool." I have to teach marketing management. I tell you now, I'm not qualified. And they're
Mm.
like, "Oh, well, there's a textbook, standard textbook that has the PPTs, do the PowerPoint, just go through the motions. It's multiple choice tests." I'm like, "Okay, whatever."
Wow.
Um, and and I was brought in. They're like, "Okay, you have to teach two courses, two sections of marketing and management, and you have to teach supply chain management." And I was like, "Hold, records cringe. Wait a minute.
What's supply chain?
I don't
Yeah.
think that's a good idea." And they were like, "Just do it." And I'm like,
Just do it.
everybody has to do it. You're required. I'm like, I can't not teach this because I'm gonna look stupid, and I think your kids are gonna be like, "What the hell is going on?" And I actually had to. I went through Wikipedia to look through supply chain theory.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, what am I doing? But I mean,
That's
I've long
hilarious.
learned that you learn things by teaching them, but that was a more extreme example.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Hi,
So they
welcome to
were,
supply chain management, everyone.
Yeah.
so they just they were like, well, because you've got this credential, like it's fine. You can teach this other course. And
Yeah.
wow, that's,
Kind of.
um,
It's kind of the worst aspects of credentialism. Um, and no, here that my cat's trying to come up here. Um, and they were just like, "You're from this fancy university, you got these degrees,
They'll buy
you
it.
can teach." But I also think it reflects how um, little regard they had for their own students.
Mm, yeah.
So I'm not going to name the place,
Right.
but yeah,
yeah. Yeah,
they
I mean, I would be upset, especially if you're paying
Yeah.
for that. Like, you want somebody that
yeah,
is an expert in that subject matter,
yeah,
not somebody that's being forced to teach it and
yeah.
admittedly saying, I don't think I'm qualified for this. How about I do the other thing?
My main problem was that I looked into all of these things. Like marketing management was actually just almost as bad, but I looked into the theory and da da da. What I didn't realize is that um, business administration shouldn't be, it's not actually an academic field, right? It's
Science
basically,
at all?
it's not, I mean, if you taught it as a social science, it could be interesting because
Hmm.
it's a field of human endeavor, economy, marketing things, selling things. It's what people do in society. It could be interesting, but it's not taught that way. And chapter three of this, I think it was chapter three of this book, Kotler Kettler, Marketing Management, is about ethnography in um, business research. And I'm like, oh, that should be a real interesting thing. So I gave them interesting readings. I was talking about, my work. I hadn't done at that point, but I know that people in Google, Facebook, the big places, Apple, use ethnographic, research methods and all these interesting things. Um, and the students were like, "Why am I doing this?
Hmm.
Why is this not multiple choice?" Yeah. So, yeah, I kind of did it too accurately and it kind of so with the supply, but I can't say that was true for supply chain management. I mean, I tried, but I failed at that. I shouldn't have been teaching that.
Huh.
I mean, that's what I know. But I've taught other things and did pretty okay because they're kind of in my, as people say now, wheelhouse. That
Probably
was not
somebody
even
watching, and eventually they're going to be like, "That was my supply chain management professor. He was awesome."
And funny thing is, half of teaching, as you find out by doing it for a long time, is whether they like you or not. Are you likable? Do you try for them? I mean, I think they could see that I was trying to make interesting cases and trying to explain things that I thought were interesting that they could find useful. Anyway, I was trying. I didn't phone it in. So they could have had a professor who was experienced CEO of this, that, and the other, was doing this job as a hobby essentially, and just phoned it in. And it could have been worse, could have been better, but
I think
they got me.
I'd like to be in one of your classes. I mean, I think you're likable. That's great.
Yeah, thank you.
That
I
is
like
true.
to-
At least you try. That's a good point, because there are people who are subject matter experts, and because they are so accomplished and good that they just phone it in and they don't really care
Yeah.
about teaching people. So at least you had heart when you were tackling these
The
things.
most important
for
thing, you got to
people.
have